plugged in and turned on. If you're not turned on, keep it under the.
Hey. This is a kid's show. It's a family show.
Okay.
All right, Dan. Good evening. I'm Reverend William. I'm your chairperson for this evening's service. Thanks to everyone taking part in the Quiet Energy Work portion of our service. Quiet Energy Work happens every Sunday prior to the service. Your cooperation in building and maintaining this sacred space is greatly appreciated.
I'm going to keep your phone running so that we can catch you on.
You're going to do prayers and meditation?
I can do prayers.
All right. My phone volume is down. And... Okay.
All right, let's have an opening prayer. Divine spark of energy that lives within us all, and from whence we came and to whom we shall eventually return. Thank you for overlighting our service this evening. Guide us in your wisdom as we work towards reunion with you. Amen.
Amen. Please open to the first page of the book and we will say together the universal greeting. If this is new to you, watch these people. I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I hear your needs. I see your beauty. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from a higher source. I salute that source in you. Let us work together. Now, if you'll turn to the next page of the book, we will say together the 9 principles of spiritualism. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitutes true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is in fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual, and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul, here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in all sacred texts are divine attributes proven through mediumship. This evening's program will include an inspired talk. All right, good evening. We're going to be talking about the Buddha tonight. Now, most of you who are familiar with the Buddha at all are mostly familiar with the festival that's held at the beginning of May, Vesak. And that is a joint his birthday and death day. But there is another day that is important in his life, and that is the day that he reached enlightenment. And that is celebrated actually tomorrow. For those of you who are not familiar with Buddha, Buddha was born Siddhartha Gautama. He was an Indian prince that was raised very sheltered in the large palace compound that his folks had, so that he could be protected from all the outside world and all the things that happened in the outside world. So he had this idyllic, pampered childhood. And then one day, as a young man, he somehow got outside of this palace compound, and then he beheld the suffering of the world. He saw old people, he saw sick people, he saw poor people who were starving, all the suffering.
And he's like, this cannot stand. And so he wanted to know how he could relieve suffering. He realized that life was suffering. As much as his folks wanted to protect him from this, life was suffering. And that there had to be a way to free oneself from that suffering. And so he went in search of that. And eventually he found himself underneath this Bodhi tree. And he says, I'm going to meditate here until I figure it out. And so at one point, he figured it out. And he reached enlightenment. And that's the same sort of thing that we're all in our own way striving for. It's sort of releasing your being in this world, but not of this world. You're just sort of not, you're in it. You're having these experiences, but you don't allow those experiences to, bring you down. You just observe the experiences and you see what you learn from the experiences and you move forward from the experiences. And as you remove yourself, detach yourself, it's detachment. It's not, you don't feel anything, you don't do anything. You are still engaged in the world, but you are not attached to the outcomes. That's a key thing, is not being attached to the outcomes and not being attached to things that you have no control over. You can only control yourself. Peace comes from within. You cannot find it somewhere out there. The only place that you can find that peace is within yourself. There is nothing that you can bring in from the outside that will bring you that peace. There's no person, there's no experience, there's no food, there's no drink, there's no drug that will fill that emptiness within you. You have to find the way to complete yourself and realize that you are whole just as you are, and that there is nothing to fear, and you sort of connect yourself directly with your infinite self, the divine spark that is within you. You keep that, and that becomes all pervasive within you. So we're going to be doing something, and hey, you might reach enlightenment, and you might not, but that's okay. You got plenty of time to do it. There's no rush. But we're going to try to see if we can detach oneself for just a little while from those things and find that peace that is somewhere within ourselves, even if we're not fully conscious of it at this time.
Thank you. We welcome your donations to help us maintain our presence in the community. You may donate via our website, circleoflightstl.org, or our Facebook page. If you use Amazon, please consider using smile.amazon.com. Choose Circle of Light Independent Spiritualist Church in St. Louis as your nonprofit. Amazon will give us a small donation at no cost to you. We also collect donations for the Southwest Indian Foundation, which provides stoves and food baskets to Native Americans during the holiday season. Each year we allocate funds to help them, and if you want to make a donation specifically to SWIFT, just tell us when you donate. Thank you for your donations. All funds received help us in our mission to seek, develop, and teach the knowledge of the relationship between humanity and spirit. The crystal globe displayed here is filled with prayer and energy for healing Mother Earth and all her children. Everyone is welcome to contribute prayers for world peace and world healing. We invite you to add your energies to the sacred sharing. We keep a wooden prayer request box in the foyer. You are welcome to send us requests for healing. Throughout the week, light workers focus their energies on the prayers to add to the sacred act. We will now say the prayer for spiritual healing found on the next page, after which there will be a short silence for you to softly say the names of anyone that you would like to receive extra healing this week. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask the great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Current announcements.
Next week we have it's the earth releasing ceremony.
Okay.
The first releasing ceremony of the year.
Tonight we're going to have a short meeting.
Short meeting.
Pretty much.
And
I guess there's no events planned yet because we haven't met.
no, we don't have any events
Yeah.
quite yet. That's okay.
Does anybody have any events? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they ever? Okay. Once again, we thank you for your donations. Reverend Karen will lead us in a prayer of the offering.
Giver of all abundance, thank you for allowing us to share in our bounty with others. Let that energetic force in all its forms work in the same way as the loaves and the fishes to multiply so that everyone's needs are satisfied. So mote it be.
So mote it be. That brings us to the message portion of the service. The message workers that stand before you this evening actively develop their gifts so that they may be clear channels for this work. Please actively listen to each message as these come from universal source via our guides. They may be tailored for the individual, but they deliver wisdom to the whole. Please address questions about messages to the message bearer after the service. To welcome each of our spirit workers, we sing together to raise the vibrations of our circle. Excuse me. We view the word God as a universal term for deity rather than signifying any one particular path. Our message bearer tonight will be me, and let us welcome me with the song Amazing Grace, all verses. One moment, please. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and braced my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Tis the season for stillness. Thank you very much. I'm Reverend William. Be working tonight with Sarah, Mikael, Two Hearts. Oh, I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
I haven't said that in a while.
Okay, I know why that. Meriden Arcturus. Okay. Bill E. Bill, they're showing me this this plaid scarf, and it's curious to see where this goes because it's this plaid scarf. Oh, okay, so there's like William Wallace, Braveheart, you know, and like these colors tell you what team I'm on or what clan I'm with. Okay, and they're saying that like how important is this really? Is what Spirit is saying. Like the team or clan you identify with, they're asking you to consider what that means to you, and or what that group or clan stands for, and like how or why you identify with that and what you learn from answering those questions. Okay. Joyce H. There's a statue, and it's white, like fine art, like marble or something, like you'd be in a museum, you know. And it's just, of course, gorgeous, beautiful. I can't really see it, but I'm really looking at you, looking at the statue, and you're admiring it. And Spirit says, "Well, do you see yourself in that statue?" And you're like, honestly, not really. I see this and that, and then you move around it, and it becomes something different. So it's the statue has like different faces or facets, and it completely depends on how you look at it. How you look at it completely changes what or who you see in it. So so what was that? So the art in this case represents how you visualize or use your imagination, and changing your perspective, for lack of better words, changing your perspective lets you imagine something different. So that's what they're suggesting is take the whole 360, go all the way around it, really open up your field of view, and see what then comes to you by way of your imagination, and like how you see yourself, okay, and like how you identify with the world, things like that. Susan. Susan, it looks like you felt like a tortoise lately in that you've been moving slowly, keeping like sheltered in the big hard shell. And they're saying the sun is coming out, and you're going to get re-energized, warmed up, and this stage will certainly end, and you'll be out there have much more energy and much more energized. So like more mobile and more movable, if you will. Okay. Tammy C. Tammy, you're going down the highway or road, whatever, and those orange cones mark this construction zone. You know, they're saying those cones are there for a reason. It may seem like somebody's trying to narrow your path, like I don't know, I just I put myself in your place. I don't like it. I don't like it when the path is narrowed. I have to go a certain way. Well, they're saying this. You may not see the workers over here. Like maybe it's a Sunday and they're not out there. There's no flashing yellow lights and stuff, but the orange cones are still there, and they're saying that is for your safety. You know, there's a time and place for adventure, and this particular part of the road is not that. Okay, there's other times, other places
where you can wander off the path and be very adventurous. But this particular one you're on right now is not that. They want you to be safe, okay? Is there something else? Something else actually asked for a message. Okay. I'll go with Reverend Karen. It's funny. This came up very briefly about a tall or short stature, okay? And there's somebody else over here, and you say, yeah, but you can do this, and you grab this rope, this big thick rope, and you immediately flip upside down, your feet grab the rope, and you crawl almost like a monkey, like very quickly. And so the most obvious thing to me is like there are pros and cons to every person and every type of person, right? Everybody has their pros and cons. Okay, there's things that people can and can't do, vice versa, blah, blah, blah. But it has even more to do with you exploring your abilities and like learning your own strengths. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, maybe I can't dunk a basketball, but I can do this, and so on and so forth. So they're just encouraging that, like, keep doing that, as I even heard you say, you do what works for you. Okay, Tom. Okay, so it took me a second because you were in front of this thing. It was all white, and it was this gigantic drum head. I mean, like I don't know, bigger than this room, like 40 feet diameter. Huge. And it was white. It didn't look like a tanned, like you would expect, like a tanned skin to look more like a drum head. And you're familiar with tones and how the tones are produced, and like a bigger area will write a deeper tone because it allows for bigger waves of sound or whatever, okay? Well, very much like the ohm in the background, the deep ohm carries farther because of the frequency and about all the technical stuff, right? So what they're saying is when you use a bigger drum, it reverberates longer in time and farther in distance, okay? And I'm asking if there's a reason why it's white. It has to do with your like openness, receptivity, having no like conditions or limitations on the drum that you could like. You might look at a drum like, well, that's way too big. It'll never work right, But they're saying, try it, please. So it looks like you're gonna be encountering this opportunity to really send out a vibration, and you might look at it and say, well, that's just like not practical or won't work. Please give it a try. Okay. Lois.
Yes.
You have these old-fashioned glass soda bottles. You remember, like, when, like, Vess and Knee-High made a bunch of different flavors of soda. You can go to the store and get, like, all different flavors, all right? And you have all these the old-fashioned glass, the tall glass bottles, popping the caps off for the bottle opener, and trying all different flavors. And the point here is that you would, okay, it's not just that you're trying to see which one you like. You're trying them and say, okay, well, Karen would like grape, and Tom would like root beer, and like you're doing this for other people. And Spirit says that's completely appropriate. You know, I guess that your old way of thinking, you wouldn't think you wouldn't presume to know what somebody else would like or want. And they're saying in this case, it is appropriate that you would do that. Okay? All right. Thank you for allowing me to stand between the rules.
It's okay then.
Yep.
Righty, that brings us to the meditation. Okay. Bill E. waves and said, I'm confused with me. We're having a short meeting here after the service, and it won't be broadcast. Hope that answers your question. That brings us to the meditation led by Reverend Karen. Do you have the ohms on?
Okay, everyone can just find a comfortable position. As often is suggested, you focus your attention simply on your breathing. As you focus on your breathing, that allows the other parts of your physical form to calm and relax. It also allows your thoughts to calm and relax as they focus simply on the breath. When you look to meditate, if nothing else, you always have the breath to turn to. There are no other external distractions. There's only you and the breath. The place in space-time where you have been manifested is such that there are many distractions. Everything looks to take a moment of your peace. It is said you do not have to attend every fight you are invited to. Your inner peace is the most precious thing you possess. Even now, you remain aware of all the other things that are outside you. You are asked to remember that the key word is outside. They are outside of you. Nothing is allowed inside you without your permission. If that energetic, in whatever form, seeks to disturb your peace, why should it be granted permission to come inside? We do not ask you to retreat from the world, to become a hermit, living alone. You are here in form to have experiences. You may not have control over the experiences that you have. What you control is how you respond. There are energies that want you to respond to them in ways that are detrimental to you. You need not respond to them with hate or disdain. In fact, you need not respond to them at all. As you maintain your peace, it acts as a shield around you. One that people can feel. But cannot penetrate. Think of how people respond in your presence. Do they relax and become more peaceful themselves? This is the goal. Some of you may not realize that this ability to be at peace is possible for you. It is possible for all. As you free yourself from the suffering that comes with your experiences, and can view them with calm detachment, you can more easily see the lessons that are being shown and absorb that information into your being. We know that you have the power to live in this state of peace. Whether you have recognized it in yourself yet or not. Every one of you has this ability, however small you may think it is. When you search for that outside of yourself, you will only see that it is not there. Ultimate peace cannot be found outside. There is nothing on the outside that will fill you to the point of peace. It can only be found inside you. when you recognize that you are whole and complete. You will be at peace. You will still move through the world in which you have been placed. You will still do things that other people do. But for you, they will be different. Because there is that peace inside. This is what enlightenment is. Not simply a recognition that divinity is within you, but that divinity is you. And that is all there is. You and divinity are one. And thus, as you look out, what you see is the divinity that surrounds you. The divinity that you recognize in all things. Feel that within yourself. Calm, clear, light. That is who you are. That is who we all are. The more people recognize this, the more they become free. Take a moment to remember this feeling. This peace in which everything else seems to disappear. And as you return yourself to your form, even though you recognize it and feel it around you, that peace remains unaltered. And as you are ready to open your eyes, you more easily recognize that light that you see in all other beings. Return now and recognize your fellow beings of peace.
Just to lead a closing prayer.
You bet. Divine Creator, thank you for allowing us to touch, even for a moment, the infinite peace that you are. Guide us to be that peace, represent that peace as we move through our lives in the days to come. So mote it be.
So would it be. Thank you. Thank you all for being here, whether in person or not, in our circle of light. Let us stand in unity and sing together, let there be peace on earth. Sorry.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.